The galaxy had never seemed so quiet and yet so full of danger. Far beyond the orbit of Earth, a message traveled at the speed of light, crossing countless systems, each more alien than the last. The signal was weak, distorted, and strangely urgent. On Earth, it appeared first on the screens of a small monitoring station in the Nevada desert. At first, the scientists thought it was interference or a prank from another country. But the pattern of the message was unmistakable. Someone, somewhere, was asking for help. The transmission repeated in a loop, each time more clear. It was a request, almost a plea, for soldiers to fight a war the aliens could not win alone. The words were translated through advanced linguistic software, but even with technology, the urgency in the message was undeniable. The aliens did not speak like humans, but their language carried an emotion humans could understand: fear. Their civilization was collapsing under attack from a species no one had ever seen before.
Ow.
The Earth Council, a coalition of leaders from every nation, gathered quickly to decide what to do. Many were scared. The message had come from a place they did not know, about a war they could not understand. And yet the fear in it was real. Commander Alina Voss watched the council debate. From her station, she had been trained for crises, but nothing like this. The idea of sending soldiers to an unknown world against an unknown enemy seemed reckless. Still, the aliens' distress was clear, and Earth had a history of responding to emergencies. Council considered sending troops, but the discussion quickly became more complicated. Who would lead them? What technology would they need? Could humans survive in an alien environment? The questions were endless. But there was one thought that kept coming back to Alina. Humans could handle more than anyone expected. While the council argued, the Earth's intelligence agencies quietly began a different kind of preparation. They realized that ordinary soldiers might not be enough. They needed people who could think differently, adapt to anything, and face danger without hesitation. They needed enforcers. These were not soldiers in the traditional sense. They were elite, trained to handle situations where conventional strategies failed. Alina had worked with them before. They were the best humanity had to offer. Each had skills beyond normal human capability, and together they were unstoppable. Alina reviewed the profiles of the enforcers. Sergeant Raj Patel was a master of unconventional tactics, someone who could turn a hopeless situation into a victory. Specialist Kira Jong was a genius with technology and AI, capable of hacking systems that no one else could even see. Others were equally remarkable, each trained to survive and excel in extreme conditions. The council did not yet know the full extent of what they were sending, but Alina did. She understood that these humans were not just soldiers, they were a force of nature. The council finally agreed to respond. They would not send a full army, only the enforcers. The aliens did not ask for the best of humanity, but the humans had their own idea of what was necessary. It was a bold decision. The world watched quietly, unsure if they had made a mistake. The enforcers prepared their ships, trained in zero-gravity maneuvers, survival protocols for alien environments, and combat simulations against species that might not even be human-like. They learned about the aliens they were going to help. But the information was limited. Every detail came from the same desperate message that had arrived in Nevada. No one knew what the enemy looked like, how strong they were, or what their weaknesses might be. Finally, the day came. The enforcers boarded their ships, ready to leave Earth for the first time in a coordinated mission outside the solar system. Alina stood at the command center, looking at the Earth one last time. She thought about the people on her team, the mission ahead, and the uncertainty of it all. Still, she believed in their capabilities. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and had always found a way. The stars stretched before them, endless and cold. But the enforcers were ready, as the ships entered faster than light travel. The transmission replayed once more in the control room. The aliens' message was simple, almost childlike in its desperation. It had not asked for the best humans, but humans would give more than that. They would give their determination, their ingenuity, and their will to survive. Lena watched the stars blur around her as they sped toward the unknown.
Somewhere out
there, A civilization was waiting for help. They did not know what humans were capable of, and that would be their greatest advantage. The galaxy had called, and Earth had answered. The enforcers were on their way, and nothing would be the same again. The enforcers traveled through space, leaving the familiar blue of Earth behind. The faster-than-light drive hummed quietly, the ships moving like silver arrows through the black void. Inside the command ship, Commander Alina Voss watched the crew prepare for what they would face. Everyone was tense, but focused. This was not a normal mission, and no one could predict the dangers ahead. They only knew that a civilization was in desperate need, and humans had the power to change the outcome. The first days of travel were spent in preparation. The enforcers practiced maneuvers that might be needed in combat. They trained with alien simulation programs, practiced zero-gravity drills, and rehearsed rapid decision-making under pressure. Alina walked among them, giving advice and watching their skills grow sharper. Sergeant Raj Patel ran small teams through mock battles, testing their ability to think quickly and improvise. Specialist Kira Jong checked and rechecked the ship's systems, making sure their technology could handle anything in an unknown space environment. The others studied the limited data they had about the aliens and their enemies, trying to understand what kind of opponents awaited them. The Council on Earth monitored their progress closely. There was tension in every room where people discussed the mission. Some worried the enforcers might be too aggressive, that humans could create more problems than they solved. Others argued that humanity had survived impossible challenges before and would rise to this one as well. Lena knew the truth. Humans had a unique way of turning the odds in their favor, and that was their advantage. She also knew the mission required more than skill, required judgment, restraint, and courage. Every member of her team needed all three in equal measure. During the journey, enforcers spent time learning about each other. They shared stories, trained together, and built trust. They had to work as one, because in the coming battles, only unity would keep them alive. Raj Patel told jokes to ease the tension, and Kira shared technical tricks that could make their equipment more efficient. The conversations were simple, almost mundane, but they forged bonds that were as strong as any weapon. Alina watched them, knowing that these connections would matter more than any strategy. When fear and danger appeared, the ship's sensors finally picked up the first sign of the alien territory. The view was breathtaking and strange. Vast structures floated in space, some shaped like trees, some like sharp crystals, all glowing faintly. The colors were unlike anything on Earth, and yet the civilization seemed fragile. There were signs of damage, areas darkened by fire or collapsed structures. Alina felt a pang of concern. The aliens who had sent the message were clearly in trouble, and the enforcers would be the first humans to meet them. She wondered if the aliens would understand what humans were capable of, or if they expected ordinary soldiers. As they approached, the aliens sent a small welcoming party. The creatures were unlike humans in shape or color. Their eyes were large and bright, and their bodies moved with a strange elegance. They were cautious, almost afraid, as they came aboard the human ship. Alina stepped forward to greet them. She spoke slowly and clearly, using the translation software provided by Kira. The aliens listened carefully, their expressions uncertain. They had not imagined that humans would come in such a form, nor did they expect the confidence and presence. Of the enforcers, Alina explained their mission, that humans had come to help, not just as soldiers but as enforcers capable of turning the tide of war. The aliens were confused and hesitant. They had asked for fighters, not leaders, not strategists, not beings who would change the rules of battle. Alina assured them that the humans would act carefully but decisively, and that their goal was to protect, to stop further destruction, and to bring hope where there was despair. The aliens did not fully understand, but they could see determination in Elena's eyes. That alone gave them a glimmer of trust. The enforcers began their assessment of the situation. They looked at maps, examined the remaining defenses, and studied reports from the aliens about their enemies. The invaders were strange, almost invisible at times, and their methods were terrifying. Entire cities had fallen before the aliens could respond. The enforcers realized that conventional tactics would fail. They would have to use ingenuity, create traps, and think like predators to succeed. Raj suggested strategies that seemed risky, even reckless, but Alina considered them carefully. Every plan was a balance between boldness and caution, speed and patience. Training continued, even in the alien environment. Zero-gravity drills became more complex, and the team practiced moving silently among structures that were unfamiliar. Kira worked to integrate human technology with alien defenses, creating hybrid systems that gave them an edge. Every night, Elena reviewed the plans and adjusted them based on the latest information. She reminded herself and her team that their strength was not in overwhelming numbers, but in precision, intelligence, and the human ability to adapt. The aliens watched the humans with a mixture of awe and skepticism. They had expected help, but what they saw was different. The enforcers were not just warriors. They were problem solvers, strategists, and a force that could inspire hope even in the darkest moments. The aliens began to realize that the humans would not just fight alongside them, they would lead, protect, and enforce order in ways the aliens could not imagine. It was a new kind of power, a combination of skill, determination, and courage that made humans unlike anything they had encountered. The first engagement was coming soon. The enforcers knew it. Scouts had reported movements of the enemy near the border of alien space. The humans prepared quietly, checking weapons, testing shields, and running through scenarios in their minds. Alina gathered her team and reminded them of their mission: protect the aliens, defeat the invaders, and survive. The journey had been long, the preparations intense, but nothing could fully prepare them for what lay ahead. Yet each enforcer knew that their training, their instincts, and their trust in each other would carry them through. As the first signs of conflict appeared on the sensors, the humans were ready, not as soldiers, but as enforcers. They would show the galaxy what humans could do. The enforcers moved closer to the front lines of the alien territory. The structures and landscapes grew more damaged, and signs of conflict were everywhere. Smoke and fire floated in space, glowing with strange colors. The aliens who accompanied the humans guided them carefully, warning about traps and dangerous areas. Commander Elena Voss led her team quietly, studying the patterns of destruction and listening to the reports from scouts. Every detail mattered, and they moved cautiously but with determination. The humans were not just observers. They were preparing to act in ways the aliens could not imagine. The first encounter came sooner than expected. Scouts reported small enemy units moving through abandoned cities, striking without warning. The aliens panicked, unsure how to respond, but the enforcers were ready. Raj Patel quickly organized a small squad to intercept the units. The humans moved like shadows, using techniques that the aliens had never seen before. They set traps, anticipated enemy movements, and struck with precision. Within minutes, the enemy units were neutralized, leaving the aliens stunned and relieved. The humans had shown their capability, and their actions inspired confidence among the alien forces. Specialist Kira Jong worked to integrate human technology with alien defenses. She modified weapons, improved communication systems, and created ways to detect the invaders before they could strike. Her work allowed the humans and aliens to coordinate in real time, giving them a tactical advantage. The aliens watched in amazement as humans solved problems that had seemed impossible. They had asked for soldiers, but humans were not just fighters, they were strategists, engineers, and leaders. Alina knew this was exactly what the mission required. Ordinary soldiers would have failed, but the enforcers were proving that humans could overcome challenges with intelligence and adaptability. The enforcers began planning a larger mission to secure a critical area where the enemy had concentrated forces. The aliens feared it was too dangerous, but Elena insisted it was necessary. The humans needed to show the aliens that they could hold the line and protect key points. Raj Patel organized the team, explaining the strategy in simple terms. Each enforcer understood their role and the importance of timing. The humans moved with precision, coordinating every action. They were a single unit, operating with focus and efficiency, and they were ready to face whatever came next. The battle was intense. The invaders were unlike anything humans had encountered before. They were fast, stealthy, and unpredictable. But the enforcers adapted quickly. They used the terrain to their advantage, set traps, and anticipated enemy behavior. Kira used technology to disrupt enemy communications and track movements, giving the team a constant advantage. Raj led strikes with careful planning, using speed and surprise to outmaneuver the invaders. Alina coordinated the entire operation, adjusting plans as the situation changed. The aliens watched in awe as the humans turned a dangerous encounter into a decisive victory. The invaders were forced to retreat, and the enforcers had secured the area. The aliens began to see humans differently. They had expected ordinary soldiers, but what they saw were beings who could change the outcome of battles through intelligence, skill, and courage. Humans were unpredictable, creative, and relentless. The aliens realized that the enforcers were not just there to fight, they were there to enforce strategy, protect life, and inspire confidence. This realization strengthened the alliance between humans and aliens, creating a bond built on trust and respect. After the battle, the enforcers took time to assess the situation. They examined the enemy's tactics, gathered information about their strengths and weaknesses, and prepared for future encounters. Alina reminded her team that each victory was temporary and that the enemy would adapt. The humans needed to stay ahead, think creatively, and act decisively. The aliens listened carefully, learning from the humans and beginning to understand their methods. This exchange of knowledge strengthened their ability to work together and gave them hope that they could survive the larger threat. As the enforcers moved deeper into alien territory, they encountered more challenges. Abandoned cities, damaged infrastructure, and scattered enemy forces created obstacles that required careful navigation. The humans used a combination of stealth, strategy, and force to overcome each problem. Raj Patel led small squads on reconnaissance missions, gathering critical information and neutralizing threats before they could grow. Kira Jung ensured that technology worked seamlessly, providing the team with real-time intelligence and communication. Alina oversaw every operation, making quick decisions and ensuring that the mission stayed on track. The enforcers also focused on helping the alien population. They repaired defenses, assisted in evacuations, and shared tactics that could save lives. The aliens were amazed at the humans' ability to act quickly and efficiently, always keeping the bigger picture in mind. They began to trust the humans completely, relying on them not just for combat, but for guidance and leadership. Alina saw the change in the aliens and knew that humans were making a difference beyond the battlefield. They were instilling hope and confidence, showing that even in the darkest times, action and courage could turn the tide. One night, as the enforcers rested, Alina reflected on the journey so far. The mission had been challenging, but the team had proven its worth. They had faced unknown enemies, navigated alien environments, and worked with species whose ways of thinking were completely different. Yet they had succeeded because they were humans adaptable, determined, and resourceful. Alina knew that the battles ahead would be even harder, but she also knew that the enforcers were ready. They had shown what humans could do, and the galaxy was beginning to take notice. The mission was far from over, but for the first time, there was a sense of hope that humanity could make a real difference. The enforcers had been in alien space for weeks, and every day brought new challenges. Reports from the scouts indicated that the enemy was gathering strength, more organized and aggressive than before. The aliens were nervous, whispering fears of losing everything they had left. Lena Voss gathered her team to discuss their strategy. The humans had already changed the course of small battles, but the larger fight was coming, and it would demand everything they had. They had to be ready to act decisively, using every skill, every tactic they had learned. Raj Patel led reconnaissance missions into enemy territory. The enforcers moved quietly, using stealth and cunning to gather information. Every move was calculated, every observation shared with the team. They discovered the enemy had a new type of unit, faster, and stronger than any before, with unusual tactics that made them dangerous. Alina studied the reports carefully. She knew the humans could adapt, but the key would be to anticipate the enemy's moves before they could strike. They needed to be faster, smarter, and more unpredictable than the invaders. Kira Zhang worked tirelessly to improve communication and surveillance technology. She integrated human systems with alien sensors, creating a network that allowed the enforcers to track enemy movements and coordinate responses instantly. They had never seen technology used in such a flexible and clever way. The humans were not just fighters. They were problem solvers who could turn impossible situations into opportunities. Alina encouraged Kira to continue pushing the limits, knowing that every improvement could save lives and give them the edge in battle. The first major battle came without warning. Enemy units attacked a critical supply area, hoping to destroy the humans and weaken the aliens. The enforcers were ready. Raj Patel organized the defense, setting traps and positioning his team to strike with precision. Kira used technology to disrupt enemy communications and monitor movements. Alina coordinated the operation, adjusting the plan as the situation changed. Humans moved with speed and confidence, striking where the enemy was weakest and forcing them to retreat. The aliens watched, amazed at the humans' skill and courage. For the first time, they began to believe that victory was possible. The enforcers did not stop at defense. They planned a counterattack, striking the enemy's main forces before they could regroup. Alina explained the plan to her team, emphasizing timing, coordination, and adaptability to each enforcer. Understood their role, and together they formed a cohesive unit, moving with a purpose and precision that no enemy could predict. The attack was intense. The invaders fought fiercely, but the humans adapted quickly, using speed, stealth, and clever tactics to overcome them. Kira's technology gave them a constant advantage, and Raj's leadership ensured that every action was effective. Within hours, the humans had turned a potentially disastrous situation into a decisive victory. The aliens began to understand the full extent of what humans could do. They had asked for soldiers, but humans were not just soldiers. They were leaders, thinkers, and enforcers of strategy. The humans' unpredictability and ingenuity gave them a power the aliens had never seen. They began to trust the enforcers completely, relying on their judgment and guidance in ways they had never done with their own commanders. Alina knew that this trust was fragile and had to be earned every day. But it was a powerful tool that could change the outcome of the war. After the battle, the enforcers assessed the enemy's movements and capabilities. They discovered patterns that allowed them to predict future attacks and prepare accordingly. Raj Patel trained small squads to use these patterns to their advantage. While Kira continued to enhance their technological capabilities, Alina reminded her team that the enemy would adapt and humans had to stay one step ahead. They could not rely on brute force alone. They had to use intelligence, creativity, and courage to maintain their advantage. The enforcers also focused on helping the aliens rebuild and strengthen their defenses. They repaired damaged structures, reinforced weak points, and trained the alien forces in new tactics. The aliens were quick learners, inspired by the humans' confidence and skill. They began to see that humans were not just allies in battle, but a force that could teach them to survive and thrive even under extreme pressure. Alina encouraged the team to continue this work, knowing that the human influence would leave a lasting impact on the alien civilization. As the days passed, the enforcers encountered more complex challenges. Enemy ambushes, hidden traps, and strange tactics tested their skills and patience. Each time, the humans adapted, learning from every encounter and improving their strategies. They moved with unity, communicating seamlessly and acting decisively. The aliens began to see humans as a force beyond simple soldiers, beings capable of enforcing order, protecting life, and inspiring hope even in the darkest moments. Alina felt a sense of pride in her team, knowing that they were proving humanity's value not just in combat, but in leadership and problem-solving. One evening, As the enforcers rested after a long day of operations, Alina reflected on their progress. They had faced unknown enemies, adapted to alien environments, and earned the trust of a civilization on the brink of collapse. The mission was far from over, and greater challenges lay ahead, but the humans had shown their strength. They were not just soldiers, they were enforcers, capable of changing the course of events through skill, courage, and intelligence. The galaxy was beginning to understand what humans could do, and the enforcers were leading the way, showing that even in the face of overwhelming odds, determination and ingenuity could turn the tide of battle. The enforcers had gained respect and trust from the alien civilization. But the situation remained dangerous. Scouts reported that the enemy was preparing a major assault, stronger and more organized than any before. The aliens were frightened, unsure how to defend their homes. Commander Elena Voss gathered her team to plan a strategy. The humans needed to be ready for a fight that would test every skill they had learned. I'd already changed the course of the smaller battles, but this one could decide the fate of the civilization. Raj Patel led reconnaissance missions to gather detailed information about enemy positions and numbers. The enforcers moved carefully, avoiding detection while observing the enemy's patterns. Every piece of information mattered. They discovered that the invaders had new technology and strange tactics designed to break defenses quickly. Alina studied the reports, knowing that humans could adapt. But success would require precision, creativity, and quick thinking. The team worked tirelessly, reviewing strategies and preparing for the coming battle. Kira Jung enhanced their technology. To give humans and aliens the advantage, she upgraded weapons, improved shields, and modified communication systems. Her work allowed the enforcers to coordinate with alien forces in real time, even across vast distances. The aliens watched her work in amazement. They had never seen such flexible use of technology. The humans were not only fighters but problem solvers. Using intelligence and skill to control situations that seemed impossible, Alina encouraged Kira to push her limits, knowing that every innovation could save lives and turn the tide of the conflict. The first signs of the major assault appeared suddenly. Enemy units moved quickly toward critical areas, intending to destroy supply lines and weaken defenses. The enforcers acted immediately. Raj Patel directed squads to intercept enemy forces, while Kira used technology to disrupt enemy communications. Alina coordinated the defense, ensuring that every move was calculated and effective. The humans moved like a single unit, precise and relentless, striking where the enemy was weakest. Within hours, the initial attack was stopped, and the aliens began to believe that survival was possible. The enforcers then planned a counterattack. They identified the enemy's main forces and prepared to strike before they could regroup. Alina explained the plan carefully, emphasizing timing and coordination. Every enforcer understood their role, and together they formed a cohesive force, capable of handling any situation. The attack was swift and decisive. The humans anticipated enemy movements, used the terrain to their advantage, and struck with precision. Kira's technology provided constant intelligence, while Raj's leadership ensured efficiency. By the end of the engagement, humans had forced the enemy to retreat and secured the critical areas. The aliens began to see humans differently. They had asked for soldiers, but what they received were leaders, strategists, and protectors. The humans' ingenuity, adaptability, and courage gave them power that no alien had expected. The aliens learned to rely on the enforcers, trusting their judgment and guidance completely. Alina knew that trust was valuable and fragile, and she worked to maintain it every day. She also knew that humans could teach the aliens new ways of thinking and fighting, ensuring that they would survive and thrive even in difficult circumstances. After the battle, the enforcers assessed the enemy's capabilities and strategies. They identified weaknesses and developed plans to counter future attacks. Raj Patel trained small teams to apply these insights, while Kira continued improving technology to give humans a constant advantage. Alina reminded her team that the enemy would adapt, and humans had to remain unpredictable and creative. they could not rely on strength alone. Intelligence and innovation were their greatest weapons. The enforcers also helped the aliens rebuild. They repaired defenses, reinforced critical areas, and shared strategies for survival. The aliens watched and learned, gaining confidence and hope. They saw that humans were not just warriors but teachers, leaders, and enforcers of order. Alina encouraged the team to continue this work, knowing that it would leave a lasting impact on the civilization. Every action of the humans inspired courage and determination among the aliens. As the days passed, the enforcers faced more complex challenges. Enemy ambushes, hidden traps, and unpredictable tactics tested their skills and patience. Each time, the humans adapted, learning from every encounter. They moved as one, communicated seamlessly, and acted decisively. The aliens began to understand that humans were more than soldiers. They could enforce strategy, protect life, and inspire hope in desperate times. Alina felt pride in her team, knowing that they were proving humanity's value beyond the battlefield. Late one night, after another day of operations, Alina reflected on their journey. The mission had been long and dangerous, but the enforcers had shown courage, skill, and determination. They had faced unknown enemies, adapted to alien environments, and earned the trust of a civilization on the brink of collapse. Greater challenges lay ahead, but humans had shown their strength. They were not just soldiers, they were enforcers, capable of changing the outcome of events through intelligence, creativity, and courage. The galaxy was beginning to see what humans could do, and the enforcers were leading the way, proving that even in overwhelming odds, humanity could rise and make a difference. The enforcers had fought battles, protected the aliens, and earned their trust. The galaxy was watching, and humanity's influence had grown far beyond what anyone expected. Commander Alina Voss gathered her team to reflect on the mission and plan the next steps. The aliens had survived the worst of the attacks, but the threat was not completely gone. The enforcers needed to decide whether to continue their intervention or return to Earth with the knowledge and experience they had gained. The aliens held a council to honor the humans. They expressed gratitude, awe, and a cautious respect. They had asked for soldiers, but humans had given them leaders, protectors, and enforcers. The aliens were changed forever by the enforcers' actions. Alina listened quietly, knowing that the humans' influence would leave a lasting legacy. The council also asked for advice on rebuilding their civilization and preparing for future threats. The enforcers agreed to provide guidance, but emphasized that the aliens needed to take responsibility for their own survival as well. Alina believed that teaching them resilience and adaptability was as important as fighting for them. The enforcers worked with the aliens to rebuild key areas, repair defenses, and train their forces. Raj Patel led training sessions, teaching alien units how to use strategy and ingenuity in combat. Kira Jong enhanced alien technology, creating hybrid systems that could detect enemies and respond to attacks efficiently. The aliens learned quickly, inspired by the humans' confidence and skills. Alina knew that this work would ensure that the aliens could defend themselves long after the humans left. The enforcers had shown them what was possible, and now it was up to the aliens to carry that forward, while the aliens adapted and strengthened. The humans continued to patrol and secure the territory. They faced small skirmishes and ambushes, testing their strategies and ensuring the safety of key locations. Each encounter reinforced the humans' reputation as powerful and resourceful enforcers. The aliens now looked to them not only for protection but for leadership and guidance. Lena reminded her team that humans' greatest strength was not just their ability to fight, but their ability to inspire confidence and unity. The more the aliens trusted them, the stronger the alliance became. The enforcers also explored alien technology and resources. Kira studied energy systems, weapons, and communication networks, finding ways to integrate human knowledge. Raj assessed terrain and defensive positions, planning strategies for potential future conflicts. Alina coordinated all these efforts, ensuring that the mission remained focused and that every human action strengthened the aliens' capacity to defend themselves. The team worked tirelessly, knowing that the lessons they left behind would shape the future of an entire civilization. After months of work, the enforcers prepared to leave. The aliens expressed gratitude once more, acknowledging that humanity had done more than they had ever imagined. Alina addressed the council, reminding them that humans had come to help. But the aliens' survival now depended on their courage, ingenuity, and determination. The humans had set an example, but the future belonged to the aliens and their ability to learn and adapt. The message was clear. Humanity's role was not just to fight, but to power others to rise above their limits. As the enforcers boarded their ships and prepared for faster-than-light travel back to Earth, Lena reflected on the journey. Humans had faced unknown enemies, navigated alien worlds, and changed the course of events through courage, intelligence, and adaptability. The mission had tested them in ways no one could have predicted, and they had succeeded. They'd shown that humans were not ordinary soldiers but enforcers, capable of enforcing order, protecting life, and inspiring hope. The galaxy had seen what humans could do, and the legacy of their actions would endure far beyond the battlefield. During the journey home, the enforcers shared stories, experiences, and lessons learned. They reflected on how humans could adapt, overcome fear, and act decisively when needed. Alina knew that the team had grown stronger, not just in skill, but in character. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. The aliens they had helped would remember the humans as a force of hope, courage, and ingenuity. Humanity had proven that, even against overwhelming threats, determination and intelligence could change the outcome of a war as Earth grew closer. On the view screens, the enforcers felt a mix of relief and anticipation. They had completed their mission, but the experience had changed them forever. Alina knew that humanity's place in the galaxy was now different. It had shown that humans were capable of extraordinary things, and the galaxy had taken notice. The enforcers had left a legacy of courage, ingenuity, and leadership, proving that even in the darkest times, humans could rise and make a difference. The journey home was not just a return. It was the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. In the stars, a chapter defined by the power to protect, inspire, and enforce change wherever it was needed.